Hello, I'm Reg Siger and I'm what you would call your average home keyboard player. I'm still enjoying my KN7000 even though it's been surpassed technologically speaking by the likes of Yamaha Tyros, Korg and Roland keyboards. I've found a new way of making the keyboard more expressive, and this is what we're going to talk about. One way of getting more expression out of playing an instrument on the right hand is to be able to bend the notes up or down. This you can do with a pitch bend wheel, which obviously we do like this. Okay, that's one way of doing it. The problem is when you play a pattern on the left hand side, you use the left hand and then you use the right hand for the melody side. The problem is I need to jump from when I'm playing to the left onto the pitch bend wheel. That means I have to stop playing on the left, which is a bit of a nuisance. But I found a way of being able to bend the notes up or down without the use of the pitch bend wheel. So instead of having this, we have this. Which leaves your left hand free to play the notes on the accompaniment side. And there's a very simple way of doing this, which I will show you a little bit later on, but I'll show you the effect with different instruments, so you can see it's applicable to all sorts of guitars, a saxophone, harmonica, like so. This is, for instance, an example of with a big band. Or the voices. That's an example with the voices, without having to touch the pitch bend wheel. A kind of shadowy guitar. The one little drawback is that you can only program the notes to bend up or down, but if you bend the note up with the touch sensitivity, you can always program your pedal to go the other way. That means bending the notes down, so you get a best of both worlds. And then, for instance, we have on a trombone. Different brasses. Or we have also a jazz guitar, like a Django Reinhardt guitar. Or a clarinet. All this still without touching the bend wheel. Banjo. And finally, the guitar, the harmonica, for instance. This is very effective on the harmonica. And finally, an example of guitar, electric guitar. You have to be, of course, a bit careful how much you press, because the more the pressure, the more you will bend the notes. This takes a little bit of practice. But I will show you now how to do this. Very simple. It just involved a couple of change of parameters. So first of all, we have to go on Program Menus. And we have this display. We go press onto Control. And then Overall Touch Sensitivity. What we need to do is to put the velocity sensitivity right up to 9, which is the maximum on this keyboard. The aftertouch on, obviously. The curve has got to be on maximum 10, and the threshold on the minimum 1. This will give you the maximum sensitivity to touch and after touch. That means if you play a sound very lightly, you hardly hear it, and if you play it hard, then obviously it becomes much louder. The next thing we need to do now is to exit, press twice, and we're going to sound edit. I've chosen the saxophone, and we'll do the saxophone without the reverb. I will take the reverb off, and we go straight on to sound edit. At the moment there's no way of bending the sound of the saxophone without using the pitch bend wheel. To change this, we ignore all this and we go into the controller. If you look at the aftertouch section, which is now blank, I will scroll up or down depending on what you've got until I have detune. At this stage, if I press on the key, we get this. The sound is bending up. I want the sound bend to go down, which is more realistic for a saxophone. Therefore, I press on all the tones I and V, which is inverting the polarity, and then we get this. I want the maximum touch sensitivity, therefore we'll go on to 127, which is absolute maximum. That will give you a high level of sensitivity. And that's all there is to it. If you put your reverb back on, and afterwards write, of course, the new sound, press write, and store it in one of the memory banks. OK, and exit, and you're all ready. And then I'll play. Now I'm going to give you 2 or 3 examples of little tunes, very short tunes, just to show the overall effect of what we've been talking about. For instance, big band. That's an example, for instance, big band. How about a nice harmonica? Toots Thielemans, the famous jazz harmonica player. A little bit of bossa nova. Without touching the bend wheel again. And finally, if you like a little bit of blues, an electric guitar. You can see all the variations, all the bend you can get with this new way of doing things. And I hope you enjoyed this little demonstration, and I hope you managed to create this effect. Thanks for watching.